Assalamu alaikum, students. Hope you all will be fine. Today we are going to study the chapter number Flowering of Arts in Mughal Times from page number 128 to 136. And these are the questions you can see on the screen. Please read thoroughly these pages and listen carefully the lecture and underline all the important points. Then you would be able to solve these questions properly. It's the flowering parts in Mughal times. As I told you about Akbar areas and the mosques and the fort he made, and about Shah Jahan's building Taj Mahal, and the tunnels existed in Lahore Fort. Today, the period of Aurangzeb I'm going to discuss. And Aurangzeb visited Lahore perhaps only 6 times, but he built there the largest mosque in the world, Badshah Mosque. And he also built the Alamgiri gateway to the fort. And in Aurangzeb's reign, River Ravi began to change its course and damage the city. And Aurangzeb ordered that a brick bank be built to protect Lahore. He made that brick bank to protect Lahore from flood, and it was more than 6 kilometers long and covered with lead. Steps led down from it to the river. Along the top of the bank were gardens, and water to irrigate them was brought up from the river by water wheels turned by oxen. And this was about the Aurangzeb. He built Badshah Mosque, Alamgiri gateway to the fort, and brick bank on the river Ravi to protect Lahore from flood. And it was 6 kilometers long. And now I'll tell you about the Mughal Gardens. And in 1365, Samarkand, the modern day Uzbekistan, became the capital of Timur and developed into an important economic and cultural center. Timur built many gardens, and when the Mughal arrived in the subcontinent, they brought with them the Persian style Char Bagh system of garden building. This was a Persian style Char Bagh system of garden, and Mughals built this style of garden in the reign. And wherever the Mughal went, they create gardens. If we say why did the Mughal create gardens? In gardens, they could find shade, escape from dirt and noise, and take some exercise or enjoy natural things. For example, water and plants. Mughal enjoyed gardens for all these reasons, but gardens were important for other reasons too. They had an extra value as a symbol of order and of good rule. Building a garden and forcing water to run along canals and into pools and fountain was a way for man to take control of nature and use it for his own purposes. And this was the reason for building gardens of the Mughals. And Babur was a great garden builder. He made many gardens, and it was important in Mughal garden of running water. Why it was important to have running water in the gardens? It was very important in Mughal gardens. Mughal kings. It was because of this. Mughal came from a hilly country. It was natural to them to build gardens on steps or terraces, which allowed water to flow and fountains to be created easily. Babur built gardens on a series of 8 terraces to show the 8 divisions of paradise. The Mughal used the Persian wheel, a water wheel system, which raised water from lower level to the higher ones. Um, this was the reason why Mughal wanted running water in the garden, because they wanted to be near the nature. They came from the hilly areas and they wanted uh, all those things in their garden as well to enjoy the nature. And what sort of garden plants did the Mughal like? They like mixed avenues of poplar or cypress trees and the shady white plane trees, or orange or lemon trees. The evergreen cypress tree was a symbol of death and eternity. Flowering trees they like, and they were very popular, as were trees which provided food, such as oranges. Food trees they like, and oranges, lemons, pomegranates, almonds, plums, and these symbolize youth and hope. Other foods, um, plants such as cherries, coconuts, dates, mulberries, peaches, peas, pineapples, bananas, sugarcane, and walnuts were also grown. And these were the fruit trees. And Mughal also loved flowers and grew many different type of flowers, including roses, jasmine, hollyhocks, peonies, marigolds, zinnia. And the Mughals love to have uh, uh, bright fish, birds, and butterflies to bring life and color to their creations. And they wanted all these things in their gardens. And Lahore was also known as city of gardens, and there were many gardens in Lahore. And the most famous garden in Lahore was the Shalimar Garden, and it was known as the heaven on earth. And the Shalimar Garden stood on the bank of the river Ravi, and Shalimar mean house of joy. And the gardens had water features, pavilions, bathhouse, grassy lawns, and many plants and trees. And a canal ran along it from north to south. And Shah Jahan liked the Shalimar Garden so much that when he visited Lahore, he often stayed here rather than at the fort. And there were 3 terraces of Shalimar Garden. Um, the 3 wide terraces which stepped down to the floodplains of the river at enormous expenses. A new canal, the Shah Nahar or Royal Canal, was built to bring water from the river Ravi at Rajpur, about 150 kilometers northeast. In addition to the canal, 2 large wells were dug to supply water to about 450 fountains that were in Shalimar Garden. The first terrace contained the Royal Residential Building, that was known as Royal Residential Building, including the Aramgah. The Emperor's Aramgah mean the Emperor's resting place, which was converted into the main entrance by the British in 1850. And now the middle terrace had a Turkish bath with 4 rooms, a dressing room, a hot room, a cold room, and a running water area. Today, the bath survives in quite good condition, although the region Patra Dura decoration have gone. The central area of the middle terrace has a large pool with 152 fountains. In the center is an island called the Mahatabi. and reached by a walkway, which was originally used by the Mughals on nights when the moon was bright. The lowest terrace had the main gateway, such were high enough for a person riding an elephant to enter. And this was all about the gardens of the Mughal, and the most famous garden, Shalimar Garden, the House of Choi. And now I'll talk about the Mughal paintings. Um, Mughal loved painting and were often copies of Persian painting. Hindu and other Indian styles were added also in those painting, and Mughal paintings reached its height under Jahangir, um, was the soul and spirit of Mughal art. And painting in Jahangir's reign show less action than those in Akbar's reign and have scenes of court life rather than conquest. This was shown in Jahangir's painting. Jahangir was often shown on the throne and with a halo of light and on his head, or and the material used in Mughal paintings were like white, black, blue, two shades of blue and green, gold and silver. White is often made with metals. There was lead white, tin white, and zinc white. These were the shades of white. Black. Black came from lamp, soot, or burnt camphor. This is how it was made. Blue color, indigo, a plant dye, was the most commonly used blue color. And the second one, blue, valuable lapis lazuli stone was ground to produce an expensive blue paint. It's a valuable stone, lapis lazuli. It was grounded to produce expensive blue paint. And then come to the green color. The most common green was verdigris, produced by a chemical reaction of copper with salt water. This is how it was made. Gold and silver now. Gold in powder or gold leaf form was used, and for silver tin metal was used to make gold and silver color. This is how the artists make colors with different materials. And the brushes to paint was made on depending on the type of brush they wanted. Artists used hairs from Persian kittens, squirrels, goats, and camels. The hair were bound into feather quills. And now we will talk about the writers and bookmakers in the imperial court. And there were many books written, and this was about if Akbar, for example, set up a translation room in his library at Fatehpur Sikri, where Greek, Arabic, Sanskrit, and Latin texts were translated into Persian. Aurangzeb stopped the practice. Mughal emperors created history books of the reign. Akbar ordered an illustrated history of Timur. The book name was Timurnama and Akbarnama, and he also had Babur's memoir, the Baburnama, translated from Turkish into Persian. Copies of Baburnama were sent around the empire to show that the power of the Mughals stretched back to Timur. And one of the Akbar's favorite story was an adventure called the Hamzanama, which contained tales of kidnapping, murders, and battles. In 1562, he ordered a copy which had 1400 paintings, and each picture was painted on cotton cloth and measured 30 inches by 24. The text was written on the back. In the 1580s, Akbar ordered translation of the famous Hindu epic poem Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and the artist painted many fine pictures to go with the stories. Because Akbar could not read, he had books read out to him. As these were the book was being written. in imperial court, Hamzanama, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Temurnama, Akbarnama, Babarnama, and this was all about this chapter, the flowering of arts in Mughal time. We have learned lots of things in it, about the paints, how it was made, about the brushes, about the books written in this time, in the Mughal period, and the famous gardens, about their flowers, and about their food trees, and the terraces, the three terraces of Shalimar Garden, and um, the buildings, and the architecture, and about the tunnels, and why Mughal creates the gardens, and what type of, and about the Taj Mahal, how it was made, and how many workers did work, and how much time it was made, and how beautiful it is, and about the Pearl Mosques, Jama Masjid, and Akbar's areas, and Fatehpur Sikri, and this was all about Humayun's mausoleum at Delhi, and Akbar's mausoleum, and Akbar's fort at Agra. These are all the topics. Please, students, read it thoroughly, and highlight and underline all the important points, and then do these questions. Um, I hope you understand. Thank you so much.